Hafide, Sejus Maasi for being here this afternoon. The speaker is on her way, and so she asked me to begin this confirmation hearing. Buenas and Hafide Todos Hamzu, this hearing by the Committee on Public Accountability, Human Resources, and the Guam Build-Up is called to order. It is now 2:10. For the record, and in accordance with 5 GCA Chapter 8, subsection 8107, public hearing notices were sent on Wednesday, July 10th, 2019, adhering to the 5 days notice, and a second public notice on Monday, July 15th, 2019, 48 hours prior. In addition, this hearing was noticed on the legislature's website, www.guamlegislature.com. Written testimonies may be submitted by emailing speaker@guamlegislature.org, or you may hand deliver to our office at 163 Chalan Santo Papa, Hagatnya, Guam. On the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we have the appointment of Ms. Emilia Flores Rice to serve as member of the Civil Service Commission to fill the unexpired term of Michael G. Tapashnia, October 1, 2015 to September 30, 2021. As I mentioned, joining us shortly will be the speaker herself, who will continue presiding over this hearing. The conduct of the public hearing shall be as follows. Those testifying will be recognized in the order of sign-up on the sign-in sheet, and I've noticed that there are several that have signed up. Written testimony may be read. In the interest of time, I ask testimony be summarized to about 5 minutes. Written testimony shall be submitted to the committee. Please provide our legislative staff with your written testimony for photocopying. Testimony shall be confined to the substance. Persons will be allowed to present oral testimony only once. Once you are done, you may be asked to remain in the room for questions or additional testimony, as may be desired by the members of the panel. Proper form and decorum shall be practiced by all present in the public hearing room for the proceedings. Individuals who do not comply may be escorted from the public room. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on and that you speak into the microphone. Please state your name for the record before you begin your testimony. With that being said, we will now move on to the confirmation hearing and the testimony. When I call your name, please be seated. And then when we begin, please state your name for the record and begin your testimony. So first we have Stephanie Flores. And then there are others who are here providing support. Nicholas Rice, is this in support but not testimony? Okay. And then we have Daniel Leon Guerrero, Juan Calvo. Also, we have Ernie Miller and Louis Baza. Yes. Did you want to provide testimony? Okay, so if you would like to provide testimony, please have a seat, and then we can go down the line. And then we also have some others, such as Robin Fahering, who are present here providing their support. Can we also have Ms. Emily Rice? Yes. So what we usually do, and you may be familiar with this, is we'll go ahead and begin with the support testimony, and then we'll leave the last testimony to Ms. Rice herself. So Stephanie, if you could begin.
Good afternoon, Senator Marsh Taitano, members of the committee president. My name is Stephanie G. Flores, and I come before you today to testify in support of the nomination of Mrs. Emilia Flores Rice to serve as a commissioner on the Civil Service Commission. I have known her for 46 years. She is my mother. My dad, my brothers, and I, and our spouses and children can provide you with some very interesting stories about her that, while no doubt entertaining, would probably not be what she wants to share here in this forum. However, I would like to give you some insight into her character as it relates to the position she is being considered for that only her spouse, children, and grandchildren can truly attest. Some of you are aware that I have practiced before the Civil Service Commission representing government employees who have had adverse action taken against them. In those proceedings, I have experienced two types of commissioners: those that are conscientious and prepare for hearings, thereby giving both sides a fair shake, and those that just show up and follow along with whatever the more conscientious members decide. It is unfair to everyone when there are not enough commissioners who are actually prepared for hearings, listen objectively, and apply the facts presented to the laws, rules, and regulations that are in place. I can assure you that Mrs. Rice cannot help but be prepared. Commitments are important to her, and if she agrees to do something, she will carry it out according to what is required. She makes lists, asks questions, confirms information, then reconfirms. In short, she is thorough and extremely conscientious. I can assure you of this because she demands nothing less from her children and grandchildren. She tries to always be fair and impartial, except when it comes to her grandchildren. Then, of course, she is biased and they can do no wrong despite all the evidence to the contrary. She's the kind of person that gets selected for jury duty often for a number of reasons. She answers questions truthfully, can and will follow the law, is smart and observant. She listens to what people say, how they say it, and more importantly, she listens for what they don't say. Do not be fooled by her quiet, unassuming demeanor. Trust me, she is analyzing the situation. Having held several positions in various levels of the corporate structure, she understands the point of view of both management and rank-and-file employees. This is important for a commissioner who is often tasked with trying to understand what factors went into the decision that was arrived at, or what factors led an employee's conduct in a given situation. In order to truly be fair, you have to appreciate both sides. She has never worked in the government. I am her only child that works for the government, but I neither lived with her, nor am I covered by the Civil Service Commission, and neither is anyone whom I supervise. Her private business has no contracts with the government of Guam, nor is it the type of business that would bid on the type of contracts that the local government would seek to procure. The chances of her having a conflict on a case are therefore very, very low. I, along with the rest of the members of my family, urge you to confirm her to serve as a commissioner on the Civil Service Commission. Thank you.
Suzus Masi for that very compelling testimony, and you hit all the right notes, talking about being fair and objective, being very prepared, thorough, conscientious, analytical, understanding both sides of a situation, management and employee. So thank you very much for a very thoughtful testimony. Next, we will hear from Daniel Leon Guerrero.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel D. Younger. I'm the Executive Director of the Civil Service Commission. I'm here to testify in favor of Emily Rice. Good afternoon, Speaker Tina Muña Barnes and members of the Committee of Public Accountability, Human Resources, and Guam Build-Up. It is with great pleasure that Ms. Emily Flores Rice has been appointed by the Magalahi Guam as Commissioner for the Civil Service Commission Board on April 19, 2019, to fill the unexpired term of Michael G. Tapasnia from October 1st, 2015 to September 30, 2021. Ms. Rice graduated from George Washington High School, Manila, Guam, and attended the University of Guam and the International Business College. Her many accomplishments include her professional involvement as member of the Guam Contractors Association and her vast work experience in the local and international arena exemplifies her knowledge of personal matters, as she is currently the Vice President and Managing Member of the FAVCon Company. She also worked for Mobil Oil Company from 1979 to 2004 as a supply associate, international aviation and marine coordinator, and also a marketing coordinator, commercial sales representative, executive secretary to the vice president and analyst for the company retail service station, bulk fuel laboratory technician, bulk fuel inventory analyst, and dispatcher. In addition, she had training in trade accounts receivable and controls, contract negotiations and administration, bulk fuels and lubrications workshop, antitrust and ethics seminar, effective communications, contract negotiations, administration, and products marketing and technical strategy seminar, and several other industry training. Mrs. Rice's business work experience and training will bring a different perspective to hear and decide on appeal cases filed with the Civil Service Commission. In light of her work and experience and training, I endorse Ms. Emily Flores Rice confirmation as a commissioner for the Civil Service Commission Board. Udanklu Nadzu Smaasi, Daniel D. Leonguero. Thank you.
Sujus Maasi for your very helpful testimony. And we now have Speaker Muña Barnes here, and she will take over.
Sujus Maasi, to my co-chair and to everybody here this afternoon, please accept my apologies. It really is hard to be at two places at one time, but when you have a great co-chair, it just makes it so much simpler. So thank you, Senator Marsh Taitano. So next on the agenda, we have...
We've listened to Stephanie and Daniel.
Okay, so Mr. Bosma.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and Senator Marsh Taitano and members of the Committee on Public Economy, Human Resources, and Guam Build-Up. I think the record speaks for itself. Ms. Emily Rice, is a product of the private institution. She's got the technical know-how. She's got managerial experiences, and it's a breath of fresh air to have that in our commission, as private sector normally deals with what they call at-will provision, but at the same time, they understand both sides of the house to make it a win-win situation. And thinking about that, and just to make sure that there's no discriminatory. So I'm very confident with and when I thank Governor Lou Leonguero and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio for appointing her and for supporting the Civil Service Commission in trying to actually have a full board, 7 board. It's very important to have 7 people in there. We still have some vacancies that you're going to continue to see us. As you know, the commission is been very busy, and it's been interesting because there's a lot of continuations in these cases. Sometimes legal counsel, they ask for continuance all the time, so that kind of moves everything back. But at the same time, we're prepared, and we are prepared. These commissioners, they spend long hours. I mean, we just got this packet that we have to read for tomorrow night. So, we really have to ensure that we understand, and we give both parties the opportunity to present their case before us, and it's for us to make the decision based on merit. As you know, the Civil Service Commission commissioners are not pro-employee or pro-management, they're a pro-merit system, so that's right in the middle. So we have to look at the facts, and we have to make a real sound decision to make it a win-win situation and fairness. We do not discriminate anybody, and we try our best to be compassionate. Sometimes, we have some limitations in our hearings, we have to control our environment. And some people, some councils don't like that, but we have to control our environment or we're going to be there forever and ever and ever. And we don't want to. We want to be efficient, you know. So with these new commissioners and with our new executive director, you know, we're moving forward in making sure that we're efficient. Ms. Rice actually is going to be an addition to our program to be efficient. And I know her personally as well. I think she's very conscientious in terms of a merit principle, although merit principles and practice are not applied in the private institution. I believe she applies that. So I, along with other commissioners, you know, endorse her appointment and would really, really appreciate it if we can move this forward so that, you know, she can start sitting and listening to some of these cases that we have before us. Thank you very much. Si Diyos masi.
Buen provecho, Mr. Baza. Thank you very much for being here and speaking in support. Mr. Juan Calvo?
Thank you. Buenos and saludo, Madam Speaker and Senator Mars Taitano. My name is Juan K. Calvo. I'm a member and a vice chairman of the Civil Service Commission. We are thankful that our governor, Bagahaga Lulonguero, and Lieutenant Governor Justin Orio for appointing and nominating Emily Rice to be a member of the Civil Service Commission. As you know, the Commission is an independent agency under the executive branch and equipped with laws, rules and regulations, policies and procedures to conduct hearing and to decide on administrative matter. For example, adverse action, grievance appeal, media attack, whistleblower case, Equal Employment Opportunity Act, inclusive of the post-audit investigation, which the staff will go in and conduct an investigation on all person action, whether it's in compliance with the person rules and regulation, and they will bring that to us. The duties and function of the Commission are critically important in ensuring that management and employees are given fair and balanced under the merit system protection. In a nutshell, it is called due process. Ms. Rice possesses a managerial background and other variety of professional and technical experience or work experience from the private sectors. This is a plus and an asset for the Commission. If Ms. Rice is confirmed by this legislature, this body, not only that the Commission will be in a better position to move forward in disposing all pending cases, it will also secure the 4 affirmative vote on all cases. Madam Speaker and Senator Mars Taitano, I therefore endorse and support the confirmation of Emily Flores Rice as a member of the Commission by this legislature. On one note, Ms. Rice and I, we went to Savage Adventist School, and we're disciplined by the Notre Dame sister. And we listen, and we gotta be honest at all times. And I think Ms. Rice is ready to handle that at the Commission. Thank you.
Si Diyos masi, Mr. Calvo. I guess because of that last statement, I too have to say I'm biased because I also am a San Vicente alumni.
Oh, yeah. Also good.
Before I call in Mrs. Rice to speak, I understand that Mr. Roland Farron marked in support, or did you want to say something? Thank you, Mr. Farron. Also, your son, Nicholas Rice, you want to in support? Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Miller, my old boss, did you want to say a few? Thank you, Attorney Miller. Appreciate it. What about Mr. Jonah Witt? You want to speak or just here in support? Please, take a seat and state your name for the record and tell us if you're here to support or not support.
Good afternoon, Ms. Speaker, Muña Barnes, Senator Marsh. I am personally Jonah Witt. I am here to invoke my support for Mrs. Emily Rice. She is personally my grandmother, and I recently just graduated from the United States Air Force Academy, and I can't help but be remiss if I didn't express how a lot of what she has instilled in me, instilled in my father, instilled in all of our family, was consistent with what I knew and what I needed to understand as I went into different command positions. Understanding, having a clear mind about things is definitely imperative to the way I want to lead my airmen, and therefore things that I know that she will in turn do for the Civil Service Commission. And so that's just a little tidbit I want to give.
Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Before I ask Mrs. Rice to speak, Andrea Witt, did you want to say anything or just support? Just support, thank you. So I will disclose for the record our relationship. We've grown up. Mrs. Rice is much older than me. I would say Steph and I, Steph used to be, her daughter used to be my chief of staff, but more importantly, we were Emily's little sisters, Donna and I, and our siblings used to go to Uncle Frank's house all the time when they were living in Barragata. But I do know that the position that you've been nominated with as an appointee to the Board of Commissioners for Civil Service, I know that you will do a great job, and I will allow you the opportunity to speak now.
Thank you. Buenas, Danhafade. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, Senator Marsh Taitano, members of the Committee on Public Accountability, Human Resources, and Guam Buildup. I am here to offer testimony concerning my nomination to the position of Commissioner for the Civil Service Commission. I consider it a great honor to be nominated to serve as a member of the board, as important as the Commission, and I will strive to aid the people of Guam through diligent efforts in this indispensable collective. My goal as Commissioner would be to serve the board and ultimately the people of Guam as both an objective and fair member of this body, in which individuals within the government seek unbiased ruling of cases regarding employee actions. Through being informed by facts on all sides and the laws that I will be tasked to uphold, I aim to provide an avenue of understanding and compliance for those who come to the Commission for their needs. For those who come seeking fairness for their environment and personal interaction with their fellow workers in the government, both employees and management personnel, I will venture to give them the opportunity to have their voices heard in a way where rules and regulations of the law may be upheld through an impartial outlet. Having worked in the private sector for the entirety of my career, I come forward as someone who has no current ties with the government and its agencies, and I am under no current obligation to any government body aside from any citizen on the island who would fall under their everyday life. My children are not part of any section of the government that may come under the purview and jurisdiction of the Commission, so you may rest assured that the issues or cases that will interact with as part of the Commission will continually enjoy a neutral outlook. These circumstances will allow me to approach the duties of this important station without personal conflict of interest during the course of my work. I am confident in my ability to serve the Commission and the people of Guam, fostered through experience, training, and hard work, and I stand by the notion, if confirmed, that I will be a valuable member to the Commission and an asset in improving the quality of life for those who interact with the board. I would also like to take this time to express my gratitude to our Magahagan Guahan again for this honorable nomination, and to all of you for the time you're spending here for these testimonies. I would also like to share my thanks for those who have testified on my behalf. I truly appreciate it. Sidus Maasi, and I look forward to being part of this invaluable commission. Thank you.
Sidus Maasi, Mrs. Rice. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to yield to my vice chair at this time, as she does have an inquiry to the appointee. So, Senator Marsh Taichino, please proceed.
Sejus Maasi, Madam Chair. And it was very good to hear of you outlining, both yourself and Stephanie outlining what could be possible conflicts or the lack thereof. So that's an important consideration. The one question that I have is something that I think that will help us better understand what you're bringing as experience and skills with you. So it mentions here that you have had some training in ethics, and so if you could just explain what that training has been.
Okay, in the industry that I was working for, there were a lot of issues that being that antitrust laws and stuff where we couldn't mention or speak to people even like an inkling of a word, where it could be taken aside and taken to court and just wipe out all the negotiations that we've had in place because of not knowing what the situation was and how to approach the situation in such a way that you maintain the integrity of the issue itself and not compromising it in such a way that it will be taken out from under you.
Sijuis Maasi, I think that any such additional experience or trainings like that all help provide the skills and the knowledge towards such a position as this, where there are a lot of nuances, there are ways of looking for intent and integrity and understanding those fine details. So thank you very much for helping me understand that better.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Senator Marsh Taichano, for your inquiry and your comments. I really am very, very appreciative to the Magahaga and the Segundo Magalai for sending your appointment down. Like I said earlier, I've known Mrs. Flores since I was a little kid. And Mr. Calvo San Vicente does roll. But more importantly, even as youngsters, we had the opportunity to learn the values of respect, the values of, every time we saw our elders, you would note to us that it's very important that we respect our elders, and that
Exactly.
I can say that growing up, even with my god sister, your sister, is making sure that the respect for our elders were always there, being fair, always making sure that if there was a situation going on, you would be fair. I see the support of your family, your children, your relatives, but more importantly, the agency, who's come in full support of you. And I think that because of their support, you will come to full terms. If I'm correct, Mr. Chair, this will complete the complement of the board, or are we still missing one or two? You want to go ahead and talk to the mic, Mr. I do apologize.
Yeah, we have John Smith that is going to be reappointed again. So you will be seeing him. His term is expiring. So I believe we have two more.
Okay, but we will have a quorum.
Oh,
if-
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We have a quorum already. Because it takes four, But we just don't like to just have four. Because sometimes the burden of proof, because of the rule of four, it's hard to convince. You're taking a risk. I remember when I was at the hospital, I always tell my director, when I know there's only 4 members, I tell him he's sick. Don't go in, because what if we don't convince 4 people? It's better to have at least 5 or 6. So there's a little bit of a balance. It's hard. The rule of 4 is just hard for the person that is the burden, if it's if either the employee or management, and normally it's management.
Mr. Chair, you will have the commitment from this committee that we will expedite the documentations for it. I do know that we have budget session, and we may have a session. We are not too sure, but budget takes priority precedence on this term, because we must approve a budget before August 30th. But as soon as session is there, we will have the committee report done. I want to say to the Civil Service Commission and to the family of Mrs. Flores, Emelina Flores Rice, that you've got my commitment, you've got my support, And I will ask our colleagues to give you the unanimous support needed so that you can continue to step up to the plate. And we want to extend our undunklin si Diyos Masi for volunteering your time. It is
Thank
this Board of Commissioners is not easy. It's all about listening. It's all about reading. It's all about understanding the process of government and what has been violated for that employee. And the patience and the calm that you have will go a long way for all these folks who are needing that advice and that direction from the Board of Commissioners. So thank you very much. And to the family, Undunklin si Diyos Masi, for giving your mom the opportunity to serve our island and our government. With that being said, let me do this for procedure. Si Diyos Masi Todos Hamzu, if there's anyone else left to testify? If not, this public hearing on the appointment of Ms. Emilia Flores Rice has been duly heard. The public hearing, I want to say if anyone else wishes to submit written testimony to the listening audience out there, they may do it by emailing me at speaker@guamlegislature.org, or they may send or hand deliver it to 163 Challenge Santa Papa, Hagåtña, Guam, 96910. They have several days to do it. Like I said, we do anticipate a budget hearing in beginning late July, middle August. So as soon as the hearing comes on, the session comes on, we will put the appointment on the agenda. So thank you very much. This public hearing is duly heard, and we are now in recess, adjourned at 2:40 in the afternoon. Si Diyos Masin, si Diyos ang binidisiam de todos.
Thank you.
Thank you.